Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics. How you doing? Welcome to the Fantasy MD's Baseball Podcast. Today is Monday, August 1st. This is our 42nd episode. If you guys been enjoying the podcast, you like what the MDs are doing. If we helped you in any way, we'd appreciate it if you could throw a 5-star rating wherever you listen. Write a little review as well. It really goes a long way. And if you watch it on YouTube, just tap that little bell, subscribe, and it will let you know every time we drop a new video. Also, we're going to be finishing up our card giveaway. We're going to announce the winner on Wednesday, so it's the last chance to get your entries in there. It's 4 baseball cards in one set. So once again, if you need the details, just check our Instagram, Twitter, wherever, social media you follow us on. And, there's just a video of me with, the regular pinstripe Yankee jersey fitted on, and it has all the information in the post. And I also speak it in the video. So check that out if you like to. And as always, I'm your host, Dominic Martino, here with my co-host, Matthew Arne. Matt, how are we doing today, brother?
I'm doing good, man. It's a Monday, but I go to Texas tomorrow, so I get to eat some really good barbecue, so I'm ready to rock.
Hey, there you go. That's what's up, my brother. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, how you doing?
So, I'm good, man. I had a nice steak dinner. I'm hanging in there, even though my most important fantasy team is all banged up right now. I'm hanging in there, brother. I really can't complain too much other than that.
Going down.
All right, so you know what? Let's get into it. We got a lot. This is an action-packed episode, and I'm sure Wednesdays is going to be just as packed. So make sure you're tuned in and check out the whole episode. We got a lot of trade information. We got waiver wire. We got guys coming off the IL. So once again, if you tune in for the whole episode, the MDs have got you covered, right? So the first one is a huge one. If you're a Yankee fan or you're New York fan at all, the Yankees went out and got Frankie Montas. I mean, we had to give up a little bit for him. We gave up Ken Waldichuk, Luis Medina, J.P. Sears, and some guy named Bowman. I forget his first name. I apologize about that. But it's a big move. The Yankees want to shore up that rotation, with Severino looking like he's going to be out for the foreseeable future. I think they did just transfer him to the 60-day IL, so, he's going to be out a little bit longer than expected at first. But, man, Frankie Montas, dude, guy's been electric the past few years. He had a little blimp in 2020, but if you look at his stats from 2019 to this year, it's 78 starts with a 3.43 ERA, 440 innings, 479 Ks, and a 1.19 WHIP. With this year's stats being a 3.18 ERA across 19 starts, 104 innings, 109 Ks, and a 1.13 WHIP. So you kind of know what you're getting with the guy. He's 29 years old. I think he's in for a good second half here. I think he's going to be motivated to pitch well. Maybe he's got to get used to Yankee Stadium at first, because, Yankee Stadium's tough to pitch in. He's used to pitching in Oakland. It's a bigger park. But I think it's a great move. I will throw this out before I pass it over to my brother. Ken Waldichuk, was a really good prospect. He was having a great year in the minors. I'm a little bit surprised they gave him up, but you know what? For having Montas up there, Waldichuk was not going to get called up this year. So it's interesting. Waldichuk, I'll give you his numbers too, guys. This is just a name you should know. Even if he comes up for Oakland at any point, you should know the name. So Waldichuk's got a 2.71 ERA this year across 17 starts, 76 innings, 116 Ks, and a 1.14 WHIP. I really like the kid, but you know what? I'm high on Montas as well, and I think Montas could potentially take Domingo Germán's spot. So if you have Domingo Germán in fantasy, you might want to look in other directions, and we got you covered on the waiver wire segment. But other than that, Matt, I want to hear your thoughts on this big move for the Yankees.
I mean, I'm a fan of the move because it helps us win now. Waldichuk, or whatever the hell you say his name,
You got it, Waldichuk.
is value for the future. The only good thing is for fantasy wise, especially in Dynasty, is it's a name to definitely try and scoop up and hang on to, because the beautiful part of it is he's already a good pitcher. And the magical part is he's going to Oakland, who knows how to develop really good pitchers, and it's a great park to pitch in. So there's a fair chance we see him next year at some point, and he can have pose for a lot of fantasy value. They really know how to develop those pitchers. So, he definitely has some long-term value. If you're one of those teams that's just like outright, done for the year, you're not making the playoffs, he's a great stash. Montas, second half outlook is just looking fantastic because those wins are going to shoot right up. And it's funny, he goes from the worst record in baseball to the best record in baseball now with the team. So it's really great. It's an exciting move for him. I'm really happy for Montas that he got moved out of that crap hole of a team. So
yeah, man. fully agree with you there, and as Matt and I kind of stressed here, Ken Waldichuk and Anthony Rizzo just went deep, 3-1 home run. Yankees take the lead. Just gonna update you guys there. It was a nice shot. But and Ken Waldichuk is a name to keep in mind, as Matt said. Dynasty keeper leagues, you really want to, if you're out of it, just go out there and add him for next year because he could potentially be great in that Oakland Park. So just remember the name Ken Waldichuk, guys. He's the one that goes back, the main one that goes back over to the Oakland and Frankie Montas deal. And we kind of told you guys, in our last episode, go out there and grab Frankie Montas while you still can. And if you did, congratulations. But we're going to
Mm-hmm.
move on to another big one, guys. This one has a lot of fantasy impact here. Josh Hader, leaving the Brewers, headed over to the San Diego Padres, and in return, Taylor Rogers goes back to the Brewers. Esteury Ruiz, and there was a couple other names. Nobody that I thought was really important other than those two. So let's focus on that. Bear with me here. I got breaking news like every second. I'm just trying to make sure it's nothing that we
It's
need to get
nothing
in here for
special.
the episode. Okay. Also, Dinelson Lament. Dinelson Lament is the other name that goes over. So you know what? That's a pretty good haul for Josh Hader. I believe Esteury Ruiz was sent down to the minors, though. That I did see that. So keep your eye on that situation. He might be more of a next year guy. But I think Taylor Rogers might have a shot at save situations. Back in Milwaukee, not sure. They do have Devin Williams, who is lights out. Devin Williams is another candidate, but they like him more in just when they need him. Like if the best three hitters are coming up in the eighth, they like to go Devin Williams. Maybe Taylor Rogers. Will see save chances. I'm not sure. He's been horrible over the last 2 months. So I would make I'd make other arrangements right now. If you have Taylor Rogers as your main closer, I'd be looking in other directions. But let's go back to Josh Hader, man. This is a great move for him. He's been fantastic this year. Actually, hold on. Yeah, let me just make sure I'm looking at this right. Actually, he's been getting hit around a little bit recently. That ERA has climbed up to 4.24. I'm not an owner of his. That's why I usually never go high on closers. If you guys listen to the podcast, you know that already, though. But he's got a 4.24 ERA on the year, which is actually a lot higher than I thought. 37 games, 29 saves, though, which is tied for the league in baseball. 34 innings, 59 Ks, and a 1.11 WHIP. I think he's going to be a little bit more motivated going to the Padres. They're in playoff contention right now. Tatis is supposedly coming back soon. They might be in on Juan Soto, who knows? So you know what? Make Josh Hader, get that ERA back down to where you like it. I think it's a decent move for both teams. Matt, what are your thoughts here, brother?
I mean, I think Hader now just gets like a bajillion saves. There might be a 30 save half. Just because the opportunities are going to be there.
Yeah.
The San Diego is always in a game, and this is going to help them tip it over the edge and kind of make that playoff push and try and get that first seed. I think it was a great move by them for real baseball, and I think it's a fantastic fantasy outlook for him. In terms of the other side, I mean, Ruiz, we probably won't see him again unless he gets hot in the minors. And
disappointing,
yeah,
man. He needs to get some playing time. Sorry, I just had to chime in. That's one of my guys. I'm a little
yeah.
upset about the situation for Ruiz.
Yeah, they kind of screwed him a little bit, but I mean, at the same time, they were probably trying to feature him a little bit so they can draw this kind of trade.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it's one of those things. Another name that really sticks out for me is Lament. I mean, Lament did not have a rotation spot, and Lament is a good pitcher. So, Lament could be someone that can kind of earn a spot once he gets healthy, because I don't even know if he's back yet.
He's pitched this year and he's been horrible. Let me see if I can pull up the game log. We'll keep going. Keep going. Let me see if I get the game log.
Yeah, no, he's been getting lit up, but he's only been getting like 1-2 innings. So it's one of those things where, yeah, where he could get a starting rollback and he could start doing his thing again. Because I mean, if you guys remember 2020, he's
been back for a little bit.
He's been lights out. He was lights out in 2020. 2021, he started off a little hot, then got hurt. That's kind of his MO. His flanges aren't the greatest. But, I mean, I think he has a lot of fantasy upside. And if he can get the opportunity there, I think that, it's a good move for both parties at this point. And let's see what happens. I think the Lament can possibly bring that fantasy late pickup gold mine for you for going into the playoffs. But
let me chime in on Dinelson Lamet here, Matt, because I'm glad that you kind of let's deep dive on him, right? Because, he had all the potential in the world, coming up, got banged up there, in 2018, missed the whole season. He's kind of just been mediocre except for 2020, where he pitched, to a 2.09 ERA, 12 starts, 69 innings, 93 Ks, and a 0.855 WHIP. So, he has shown the potential before. He's got great stuff. He's been back for like the last, I would say, couple of days here. 2-3 days. I think he's been banged up a little bit this year too. But on the year, his numbers don't look great. As Matt said, they could try and transition him back into a starter, which it wouldn't be the worst move. Maybe he gets a little bit more motivated in a new team. Maybe the pitching coaches find out what was going wrong with him here. I kind of think it's a wait and see if he does get a starting job. If he does get a start job, and let's say he goes out there in his first start and looks good, definitely worth an ad. But right now, I think it's kind of a more of a wait and see situation. He is 29 years old. In case you guys didn't know, he's getting a little bit up there. I thought he was a little bit younger myself, but it's definitely a name. Dinelson Lamet's definitely a name that keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on him, right? Up next, we got let's see. This is another big one, guys. We kind of weren't with you guys for this one. We were off. But Luis Castillo goes over to the Mariners, and that's a big one, guys. Yankees were kind of hoping to get him, but they did not. So I think it's a great move. I think he's going to be motivated. It's a mid park to pitcher. It's known a little bit more as a hitter's park there in Seattle. But so is Cincinnati, and he was great there on the year. Luis Castillo has a 2.86 ERA. Only 4 wins, 4 losses. That's more of the team. Those wins are definitely going to come through here in the second half. He started 14 games, 85 innings, 90 Ks, and a 107 whip. So, Luis Castillo, man, he's looking pretty good here. Once again, this is another name that we brought up on our trade episode, and we told you to go out there and get him before he got moved. And now the window is absolutely closed on that. No one's giving him up at this point. But, man, it looks pretty good. Let's talk about, a couple of the names that got traded over. Nobody really of note, just a couple of younger guys here. Let me just go through all these names for you here. Who did they snag again? The Reds got Noelvi Marte, who's actually a pretty good name, young shortstop, got a lot of potential there. Edwin Arroyo, Levi Stout, and Andrew Moore. So that's the trade there. The only name I'd keep an eye on is Noelvi Marte. He's got a lot of upside, but not anytime this year, maybe across the next few years. So just a name to keep on a dynasty and keeper leagues watch.
Yeah, so Castillo has a great outlook. It's funny though. Pretty much the Yankees were going after like the same pitcher. They were either trying to get Montas or Castillo, and they kind of have the same pitching profile. They had a good year last year, but then they had 2 horrible years the 2 previous years. And they've been up and down in their careers, in terms of how good they show a little spark and then they kind of die. So This year, they kind of looks like they're bringing it to the full season. So, I was happy with either one that we got. But I think it's a good landing. I think that his wins potential is now gone to the moon as well, because, the Mariners just look fantastic this year. Long-term outlook. It's Castillo. So, I don't know where I'm going to be ranking him next year. Probably not my top 30, but right outside of it.
Damn,
most likely.
Really,
Dude, it's just because of his track record. But I think for the end of the season, there's a lot of stuff that's going to go on. This is kind of what we more care about, for moving forward, trying to get that W and trying to get that championship. I think that he can help you get there. But long term, if you're in a keeper league or a dynasty league and you're kind of on the outs and you kind of just got this big value, I'd be trying to leverage him just like they did to see if you can get a big haul for him, especially now with that new price tag at that new spot. That's just me, because I just don't trust. I don't trust the talent all that much. That's just me.
I hear you. I hear that. I'll tell you this. Robbie Ray kind of went over there and after won the Cy Young last year, and I see that because Robbie Ray's got a 4.11 ERA in the year, still got those big strikeouts and a 1.19 WHIP. So I hear what you're saying. I know we both faded Robbie Ray a little bit, coming into this year. So and you know what? Guess who just went deep? Kyle Lewis, another name that we've been telling you guys to look out for. If he's out there in your league right now, you got to give this kid a chance. He's, heating up of late. Just giving you guys updates on the Yankee game. I got it over here in the corner. So, once again, I'm agreeing with Matt. You know what? Maybe I'll have to check into my rankings going into next year. But Luis Castillo, man, I'm going to tell you this. 30 sounds about right. Around 30, maybe that's in the 28 to 32 range. I think that does sound about right now that I'm looking at it and thinking about it a little bit more. So next up, man, let's go to the Houston Astros. Looks like they're out here making moves, getting things done, right? They picked up Trey Mancini and Christian Vasquez. I don't think they gave up too much in either one of those trades. I didn't really see any names that kind of really stuck out to me, honestly. Let's see.
That was
Seth
a nice
Johnson
move.
and Chase McDermott go go leave Houston. I'd never heard of either one of those guys. Forgive me if they're good, but I mean, Trey Mancini's having a pretty decent year. 2.68 average, 10 bombs, 41 ribbies, 39 runs, and he's going to slot into that Houston Astros lineup, man, and he can hit. I'll tell you this: Baltimore moved back one of their walls, and that's where Trey Mancini was known to hit most of his home runs. And in Houston, that specific wall is actually further in. So they're saying that Trey Mancini could be in for a decent second half, hit a couple of bombs for you. He's 69% owned on Yahoo, which means probably not out there in too many leagues, but if he is, go out there and give him a look. And then let's transition to catcher Christian Vasquez. That's a great move for him, getting out of that Red Sox, situation, which is, kind of been murky. They've been losing a lot of games of late. As we always say, on the MDs, it's, it's tough to get motivated playing for a team that's not trying to win every day. And on the year, Christian Vasquez has 33 runs, 8 bombs, 42 ribbies, a steal. He's hitting 282, and that's in 294 at bats. 75% owned on Yahoo, so it's probably not out there in too many of your leagues. But if he is, heading over into that Astros lineup, I'm very, very high on Vasquez and Mancini headed into the second half.
Yeah, I mean, Vasquez is a great value now. I think that he's probably, I don't even know what his ownership is. Did you say what it was?
Yes, I did. 75%.
75. I mean, the people that dropped him in those leagues are kind of like on the bozo side. Scoop him up if he's available, especially if you're struggling there. But I think his upside is going to be fantastic. I think that overall the Astros just made a great baseball decision. The GM over there really, really knew what he needed and filled those holes. That's a very strong lineup now. I think that's going to help everybody across the board because now there's there's more protection for the big hitters. There's also making them dangerous and putting pressure on the pitcher. Full count through most of the order, and that's going to really get in people's heads. That's really going to drive the pitchers to make mistakes against them, and that's going to be fantasy gold for us, especially like the Kyle Tuckers and the Jordans. If they're banging them around and then the bottom end of it,
the lineup's deep now.
Yeah, exactly. And if they start banging around these pitches and they get in the head, it's going to be great for everybody in that circumstance. And I mean, getting Mancini too, it's a really nice hit. I'm a big fan of Mancini. He's been up and down over the last couple of years, but who knows? Maybe being in that lineup with a bunch of guys and out of the Orioles, it may give him that boost.
Yeah. I'm agreeing with you there. I think they're both going to be in for big second halves, in that Astros lineup that goes super, super deep now, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we got. Oh, go ahead. Go, Mom. I'm sorry to cut you off, my brother. Go ahead.
I kind of want to announce this one because it's funny.
Yeah, go for it.
So for the mediocre trade of the week, Tommy Pham to the Boston Red Sox. This has about 0 fantasy implications, but it's funny. He'll get everyday play, and Tommy Pham is, meh. But let's see what happens.
Yeah, I'll chime in and say, I don't understand what the Red Sox are doing. They sell Christian Vasquez and they go and get Tommy Pham. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
This is Tommy Devers is getting traded.
Oh, that would be a huge one. That would be a big, big move. I think we discussed that a little bit on the last episode, the implications if Devers gets moved. But for Tommy Pham, he's 50% owned on Yahoo, 340 at-bats, 57 runs, which is nice, 11 bombs, which is decent, 39 ribbies. 7 steals is nice, but the 238 batting average isn't really helping anybody. So he is giving you 3 categories. I mean, if you need an outfielder, he's 50% owned. As Matt said, he's probably going to play every day for Boston. He goes from one hitting park to another hitting park. So it is what it is. Once again, if you need an outfielder, Tommy Pham's out there in 50% of leagues, gives you a little bit of pop, a little bit of speed. That short porch in Boston might come into play a little bit for him, but we'll see. I agree. It's kind of a meh move. Well, so that's all we got for right now for trades. If anything else pops up during the podcast, we will be sure to keep you informed. And don't forget to tune in Wednesday, guys. We're going to cover everything that happens, all those big moves that are going to happen tomorrow. We will have them all ready for you on Wednesday. But with that being said, let's chime into the news and notes. The big one, one of the biggest ones here is probably Julio Rodriguez. He's headed to the 10-day IL. He was hit on the wrist by a pitch the other day. The X-rays and the MRIs did come back negative, so that's a good sign. They're saying he's not going to swing a bat for the next 5 days. So, keep an eye on that. Not really a timetable yet for his return. We'll keep you posted as the info comes in. Then we got Tatis. As I was mentioning, he's working his way back from that wrist surgery. He took live BP today. They're saying he should start a rehab assignment this weekend, could be activated, sometime next weekend or the following week. So just keep an eye out for him. Then we got Giancarlo Stanton, guys, another New York Yankee here, got that Achilles issue. They said he's starting baseball activities today, saying he could be back, by the end of next week. And, Matt just told me this one, and I saw it as well. Chris Bryant's headed back to the IL with that plantar fascia in his foot. They said that he was going to try and play through it, but I think they're playing it safe here, and they want to give him a little bit of rest. My opinion, I don't know if he stays on the IL for, any longer than the minimum stay, because they said they're going to let him play a little bit of DH, but, I'd keep an eye on that situation to see how it goes.
Trade,
Then we got
trade away, run.
He's got. I wouldn't be opposed to anybody going out there and trying to trade him, but I think the value right now is probably a little bit not as high as it should be with all these injuries he's piled up over the years. In my opinion, if you can't get good value on him, you're probably better off just waiting it out and see how the situation plays out, because he's been hot. He's been hitting when he's out there in the lineup. I don't think it's the problem of production. I think it's just the problem of those phalanges, as my brother would say. So, kind of just, be careful with KB, and just follow the situation.
Plantar fasciitis can pop up and then linger and then come back. Yeah. And it's just, it's one of those things where once they get a hold of the phalanges, it's pretty much going to riddle them for the whole season, like you've been seeing. And usually what happens too is, if he can come back off the IL and then within 14 days, there's about like a 30% chance that he can hurt it again. And then he can be out for even longer. So that's why I'm saying sell, because it's one of those things where this can really, really hurt you. And then you could have at least capitalized, because once that trade deadline's done, that's done. You could probably sell it off and put that landmine on somebody else's team. And in keepers and dynasty, I probably wouldn't, but in redrafts, 100% say see you later.
Yeah, just check out, throw some offers out there and see what anybody's offering. But I wouldn't sell him for any less than like 80 cents on the dollar, 75 cents on the dollar at this point, because he does have upside if he can get it figured out. I think that's why they're putting him on the IL, to see, if they can manage it a little bit better, because obviously he's not been able to play through it successfully. So, let's just see where things go with him. In some better news, though, we got a couple of starting pitchers coming back off the IL. Freddie Peralta, worked his way back from that shoulder injury. He's been dominating down in the minors. I'm not sure what day he's going to start, but the Brewers did say he will start this week, so that's some good news. Then we got Jesus Lizardo. He's actually, I believe he's starting today.
He's playing right now.
Check that. Yep, there we go. He's pitching right now. Matt, we got to update on how he's doing. Is he doing all right yet?
4 innings, 5 Ks. He's let up 2 runs, so he's got like a 4.5 ERA, and a .75 WHIP. That's through 4 innings. Right. He goes 6. He's probably going to end up with like a nice mid-3 ERA. So, let's go, Jesus. Let's hopefully you're just picking up where you left off, and we're going to have just a breakout season here.
Yeah, we got a little bit more coming on Lizardo and the waiver wire segment, so we'll hit more on him there. Then we got Alex Bregman. He's headed to the paternity list. We'll miss at least the next 3 games. Congratulations. Then we got Ty France. He's got a little wrist issue. He's going to miss his second consecutive game today. He is considered day-to-day, though, so he should be back later this week. Then we have Chris Taylor from the Dodgers, working his way back from that fractured foot. He's going to begin a rehab assignment on Tuesday when you're listening to this. And they're saying he could be activated by next week if all goes well, so, keep an eye out for that. Then we got Alec Manoa. He was struck by a comebacker on his elbow. The x-rays and MRIs did come back negative. Toronto is saying that he will make his next start on Thursday, but, we've heard stuff like that before. Just keep an eye on that situation as well. Bobby Witt was struck on his hand by a pitch, but they're saying, he's going to be fine. He should be back, tomorrow or the next day. Just keep an eye on that one, too. Make sure he's all right.
They're actually saying something else for him, too. They're not even saying he's out because of that. Saying hamstring hand.
Oh, that too. No, he was out before with the hamstring. Maybe like a week or so ago, he was out with the hamstring, and then he got hit in the 9th inning of the Yankee game yesterday on the hand too. So he's got a couple of little issues going on. So I would keep an eye on him. I'd say he's day to day for now.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I have a feeling he probably doesn't play till about Thursday.
Yeah, fair enough. If I'm the Royals, I want to, he's the future, so I want to be as safe with him as possible. They probably shouldn't rush him back out there, but I saw, a couple of things saying, he's day to day for now. Then you guys, we've been telling you about this for I don't know, maybe a month or two now at this point. Mitch Haniger, working his way back from that ankle, he's been dominating down in the minors. He could be back on Friday. If he's out there in your leagues, go snag him. All right, with all that being said, guys, that's our news and notes for today. Let's head into the waiver wire. And Matt, let's do arms first because we already were talking about Jesus Luzardo. Might as well just keep it going with him.
Nah.
Man, he had a really strong, showing until he got banged up. I mean, he was on the season, he had 29 innings, 2 wins, 41 Ks, 4.03 ERA, and a 1.17 WHIP. Aaron Judge went deep again. This guy's unbelievable. Pay him his money. Barry Bonds, watch out. Guy, there's not 43rd home run in the season. The pace is ridiculous. Pay the man. Pay the man. Give him his money. I'm sorry. I got the Aaron Judge jersey on too. I don't know if it give you a little spin. That's my guy. I told everybody, if you go back and listen to our outfield episode, I had him as my number 3 outfielder coming into the year, way higher than anybody in the fantasy industry. Just pay the man. But all right, let me get back to Jesus Luzardo before I do a 20-minute Aaron Judge rant. But yeah, once again, I'm just going to recap those numbers again. Jesus Luzardo on the year, 29 innings, 2 wins, 41 Ks, 4.03 ERA, 1.17 WHIP. So he was on his way to, get back on track, from his rookie year in Oakland. I think he's got a lot of upside, guys. He's only 44% owned on Yahoo. You can go out there and snag him in over half your leagues right now. And, looks like he might line up with the Cubs next week, too. So that's another good matchup, even if you just want to see what he's got. Definitely worth an ad right now. Arguably the number 1 pitcher pickup for this week.
I would say probably the number 1 pickup this weekend.
Well, maybe the guy we got next. I don't know. But
I know
let me hear what you think about Lizardo.
You're a big fan, but I'm a big fan of Lizardo. I think that the kid has enough potential to do it. I mean, that 4.09 ERA also is a little inflated because that last game he was out there, he got hit pretty hard, and then he ended up on the IL. So I think that he's ready to really give us the business and really be that next guy up. I think that also too, being in Miami, them handing him, glasses and a whole bunch of other things, really making a difference for him.
That was a huge thing for him.
So in all honesty, I think that he's going to be outrageous moving forward. I stashed him everywhere I could. I was trying to do it before the All-Star break. It's going to pay off. I think he's incredible. He's one of the few guys down the road that are going to be great pitching, long-term contributors. There we go. I got it out. But Dom, since you're already drooling over there, talk about the next guy. Why don't you?
I will say this. I drafted Jesus Luzardo in a lot of my leagues this year, and then when he got banged up, I couldn't afford to hold him because I had injuries piling up, right? But yeah, his upside's amazing. He's still fairly young, as you said, pitching in Miami, big park. They gave him the glasses at the end of last year when they acquired him, and he's been great. So definitely worth an ad. But this next guy, I'm giving him a little smidge over Jesus Luzardo. One, because he's been healthy and he's been dominating great teams. And that's Reed Detmers of the Angels, man. This guy has been, he's 22 years old, one of the high-end prospects for the Angels over the last few years. And, he's been dominant on the year. He's had 16 starts. He's got a 3.62 ERA, 82 innings, 75 Ks, but the Ks have been up of late. A 104 WHIP. He's amazing. And then he got sent down to the minors for 1 start, went 6 innings, gave up a run, struck out 14. In 2021, he was dominant in the minors as well. A 3.19 ERA, 14 starts, 62 innings, 108 Ks in 62 innings for Reed Detmers in 2021, and a 1.14 WHIP. Once again, 22 years old. Sky is the limit for a guy like this. He's 36% owned on Yahoo. So if he's available in your league, you need to pause this podcast and go pick him up right now. I literally think he next year could take off and just be, I'd say a top 40 pitcher, but he has potential to go even higher than that. I really think that Reed Detmers is the real deal, and he's only 22 years old, so he's got a long good future ahead of him. Knock on wood that nothing happens to the kid.
Yeah, no, I mean Detmers is looking to be the guy. I just, I'm one of those guys that's like I want to see it a little bit more. He's not somebody that's been like highly touted, and it's just like, oh my God, the next great pitcher's coming up like Gilly, Lizardo, and he
Yeah.
didn't carry that kind of weight coming up, at least for around where I've been listening and hearing. He's kind of come more from, he's there, but he's not. Nobody has had huge excitement for him, in my opinion. I could be wrong, um, but that's
I
just
mean,
me.
he wasn't like a top like 10 prospect, but in
Yeah.
an Angels organization, he was pretty high up there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and he's killing it. And he's showing, hey, I deserve to be there. So I just want to see more of it, and I want to see him do it a little bit longer than what he's been doing it for before I can just anoint him as the guy. But I think he's definitely worth an ad. Definitely number two under Jesus Lizardo for me. But let me talk about somebody I've brought up in the past, finally back from the IL, and that's Dustin May.
Well,
Um,
I don't think yet, not yet. He
Not
might
yet.
have one more start down there. I think one more for Dustin May.
One
But we've
more.
been preaching about this guy all year, like from
Yeah.
literally from day one.
Yeah, and you know what? He's finally back. He's finally gonna be back. He has such great potential. Um, you know, I don't know anybody that kind of tried to stash him last year and trying to get him going. Just kind of knew what he was going to be, and he's on the Dodgers, and there's definitely room for him, and he's going to probably light it up there. It's exciting. The kid's electric. So
Yeah, yeah, man. He still is on the IL. Manager of the Dodgers, Dave Roberts, said in his next start he's going to work 4 innings. So maybe one or two more rehab starts here for Dustin May just to make sure he's right. But he's been dominating down there in the minors. In his career, Dustin May, he's 24 years old. He's had 19 starts, but 31 games overall. 2.93 ERA, 113 innings, 111 Ks, and a 106 WHIP. This guy was a highly touted prospect, higher than Detmers. I think even maybe a little higher than Lizardo. So sky's the limit for this kid. 48% owned on Yahoo. If you got the room to stash him, do it now. We've kind of been telling you about all these guys before they come back. The Mitch Hanigers. We've been talking about Lizardo on the podcast for a while. I think we brought him up a couple weeks ago. Told you to stash him. And I think you got to do it with Dustin May because this guy can be a total game changer for your team and for fantasy. So next up is going to be the last pitcher we talk about today. And this guy, man, he's interesting. Definitely a name you heard of. You've been playing fantasy for a while. I always wind up saying that. But that's Alex Cobb of the Giants, right? Now, he started off the year a little bit, wasn't really, where he should have been. I think that, it might have been the weak phalanges, over his career, he's been banged up a lot. But hey, in his last start, he came out against the Cubs, 6 innings, 1 run, 11 strikeouts, and a 0.67 WHIP. He does get the Dodgers in his next start, so that's going to be a little bit tough. I don't know if I would go out there and start him but he's a stash, in deeper leagues, he's 36% owned. You can get him almost everywhere. And on the year, numbers don't look absolutely horrible. They're not great, but, they're serviceable, especially in deep leagues. 82 innings for Alex Cobb, 85 Ks, 3 wins, 4.06 ERA, and a 1.28 WHIP. But I think he has some upside here for the second half, especially in a good matchup. Might be more of a streamer, but if in those deep leagues, I think if you need a guy, Alex Cobb is definitely serviceable.
Cobb has always been somebody that's been always serviceable. Definitely against good matchups, like Dom was saying, and he always somehow comes to fantasy fruition for you when you end up picking him up as a streamer for you. He's definitely somebody you can count on against a bad matchup. So I like the ad this week. I think he what do you call it? Has some good upside, especially that. Did you say who his next couple matchups are?
Yeah, he's got the Dodgers next time out. So as I was saying, I don't really know if you want to start him against them,
Mm.
especially if they get Juan Soto. But definitely if in deep league stash him and see where it goes. Otherwise, just keep an eye on the situation with Cobb.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm stashing him, but definitely, after this start, if the next matchup is worth it, scoop him up and hold. So, yeah, it's one of those things where I'm just, yeah, I wouldn't eat up a bench spot, but I would definitely keep a close eye on him. But yeah, let's move on to bats. Yep. So, let's move on to James Outman of the Los Angeles Dodgers. He was called up so that they didn't have to call up, Vargas so that they can kind of trade him for Soto, which I think is terrible.
Yeah, that's the big rumor.
But Altman kind of like was kind of killing in the minors. He's killing it the first shot up, but I'll read you his minors. The slash line is 279, 389, 534 with 21 homers, 11 stolen bags across 404 plate appearances. He is killing it. He's having a great minors. Leave it to the freaking Dodgers that just have a great farm system to just trade everybody under the sun to, keep being the evil empire. But I mean, it's great. I mean, the kid came out, had a really nice plate appearance, had a really nice game. He went 3 for 4. Had 2 runs, bomb ski, 3 ribs, batting 250. This was also
750.
750. I apologize. So at Colorado too, so he took advantage of it. He's going again tonight against the Rock, against San Francisco. So he's a name that you could possibly take a look out for. At least a young little hot wave to run with and see how where it takes you. Altman does have a lot of upside, and kind of preventing my boy to be called up, but it's fine. I'm sad.
I'll chime in. I mean, the only reason that I could possibly see them going with Outman because they're trying, like as Matt said, they're trying to work on that Juan Soto trade, and I heard Vargas would be one of the names that would go to Washington in return. But Outman in his own right, as Matt mentioned, the runs and the RBIs look good too. He's got a nice power speed combo. In 2021 and 2019, he stole over 20 bases in the minors in both of those seasons. Once again, this is James Outman we're talking about, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Matt, you kind of covered everything very well here, so I'm not going to add too much, except that he's a 5% owned on Yahoo, outfield eligible guy. I know a lot of outfielders have been banged up. If you're missing a Julio or a guy like that, hey, this guy could come out there. He's got some power, got some speed, and it looks like he's off to a pretty decent start here in his major league career. Once again, just James Outman, definitely a name to look out for. So next up here, let's go with the actual Julio Rodriguez replacement. That's Jared Kelnick, right? Definitely. I know I sound like a broken record. Definitely a name that you've heard about if you've been playing fantasy the last couple of years. He kind of hasn't lived up to expectations. This was a guy who was around the number 2-3 prospect in all of baseball going back a couple of years ago. And it just seems like he can't figure it out in the majors, but in the minors, the guy is like one of the most dominant players. In the minors this year, Jared Kelnick is batting 288 in 54 games, 34 runs, 11 bombs, 37 RBIs, and 3 steals. So that's the kind of guy that we thought he was going to be coming up to the majors. He's still only 22 years old, so he's got time to turn it around. I wouldn't fully write him off yet, because he does have a lot of great skills. If he could just, figure out how to do it against major league pitching, that would be great. And even in the majors this year, 89 at bats, 10 runs, 3 homers, 10 ribbies, 4 steals. And I know the batting average is absolutely horrible at 135, but if you could hit 3 bombs, 10 ribbies, 4 steals, and 10 runs, and you're hitting 135, that means every time you make a contact, it's pretty decent. And if he could come up here and really get it rolling, once again, Jared Kelnick, 26% owned on Yahoo. If he can get it rolling in the bigs, I think it will stick. Because I don't know what it is, but there's something wrong when he comes up. If it's a confidence thing, if it's I don't know what it is, but if he gets it figured out, Jared Kelnick could really be a major impact for your fantasy teams. Maybe don't grab him in your 10s, but your deep 12s, your 15s. He's worth a shot right now because he was one of the best prospects in baseball, but it looks like maybe he's got a little bit of the Byron Buxtons. He can't figure it out, in the early years. Maybe it will take him a couple more years, but hey, it's worth a shot right now if he's available in your league and you're hurting and it's a deeper league. Your AL onlys as well. Once again, give Kelnick the shot because he could have a big impact. Big on the could.
Yeah, I'm sensing a lot of LDE.
Ooh, I caught that. I know what you mean.
This is family friendly, so
wait, Kyle Lewis is up with the bases loaded against Domingo Herman. Just letting you guys know.
Oh, don't do it. Don't do it.
Pick him up.
But the LDE thing I think is here. I don't think he's got it. I think he's good. He's a bully in the minors, and then he gets up to the show and he's just washed. Who knows? Maybe he'll figure it out in like 4 or 5 years when he's like 87 years old. But I'm not a fan. I think the kid's a waste. personally.
I hear you.
Um,
You're not
so
wrong.
so I'm not even gonna keep, you know, ki- uh, pooping all over him. I didn't even have the haterade cup with me today, but
Oh Lord,
I don't feel like
Kelnick
taking.
got spared. He got
He
spared from the haterade.
he got really lucky. Let's put it that way. But let's move on to this next guy. Multi-positional eligibility, 12% owned, and it's
Uh-oh,
Luis.
Matt.
What?
I want to hear you say it.
Oh, okay. Oh, you made me. Yeah, I was dreading saying this. Luis Rengifo.
Rengifo. You were close. Luis
Rengifo.
Rengifo.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Sorry, I'm gonna butcher his name. I'm gonna save his soup now. Rengifo. Uh, anyway, kid's been
He's been
decent.
good.
He's been good. I mean, 240 at bats. He's
He's been
got
good.
21 bombs. 20. I wish 21 bombs. 21 runs,
I
five
wish
bombs.
I would have been picked him up.
Yeah, exactly. 22 RIS, 5 stolen bases, batting 275. Over the last month, it's been really incredible. 7 runs, 1 bomb, 11 ribbies, 4 stolen bases, batting 333. So, what do I always say? You know, batting average off the waiver
We
wire
all
is
know this
key.
one. If you guys listen, you know where he's going.
Exactly. So I'm just going to keep
Yes, sir.
drilling your head. And
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
not for nothing, he's contributing in about 4 categories and pretty strongly in the average and stolen bases category. And he's getting you some ribs too. So he's definitely worth the pickup. And I mean, he's literally eligible everywhere but catcher and first base. So, he's worth it. And I think there's going to be more playing time available on the Angels lineup because it looks like they're looking to do a Boston Red
Yeah.
Sox and sell out too. So we shall see. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, man. I was looking at Rengifo this morning, and it took me everything not to pick him up, right? Because my as I told you, my big money team is all banged up, and I kind of like Rengifo's numbers, as Matt pointed out. He's got a little bit of pop, he's got a little bit of speed, a little bit of batting average, a little bit of runs, a little bit of RBIs. He's the Swiss Army knife, eligible at everywhere besides first and catcher, as Matt stated. And he's been really good in his last 2 years in the minors. He had 313 in the minors this year across 24 games, and then in 2021 across 53 games, he had 329. You could totally throw him in your lineup and see where this goes with Rengifo of the Angels. Seems like he's been hitting third or fourth every day too, which is absolutely great. Kyle Lewis grounded out, by the way, guys. He did not grand slam. Good for the Yankees here.
Thank
But
God.
with Luis Rengifo, guys, 12% owned on Yahoo. He's eligible. Available everywhere and also eligible everywhere. So go out there and pick him up. But let's move on to our last bat here for today, and that's somebody that's actually a big name prospect that came up and he's been hitting pretty well. That's Jose Miranda of the Minnesota Twins, eligible at first and third. 50% owned on Yahoo, so he's getting up there. He's eligible in half your leagues, so go out there and give it a check. Eligible at first and third, two tough positions to fill right now. And 214 at bats. Miranda has 24 runs, 10 bombs, 39 ribbies, hitting 276. And once again, this is a guy who was a big name prospect, was mashing down in the minors, finally has come up, been doing his thing, helping out that Twins team, get back on track. I just think I think he might be the number one hitter out of all of these guys to go out there and add. I would totally go out there and snag him right now if he's available in your leagues. Just go for it at this point, because if third base has been horrible this year, so I think Jose Miranda could come in and fill that for your team.
Absolutely. I like that. Miranda is definitely looking good. And the eligibility, like Dom said, is fantastic. 50% owned. It should be more like 60, 70% owned, truthfully. He could be a
Yeah,
real,
that's
real
what I would
force
say.
for you
70.
too. And let me pull this up real quick since I just was looking at it. Um,
Yeah, go for it.
so just to give you a bit of perspective of what the kid's been doing, just not even just on the season, but like the last month, just ridiculous. 13 runs, 5 bombs, 18 ribbies, and batting 354. Last 2 weeks, 827, 444. So I'm sorry. He needs to be owned 60, 70% at least.
Yeah,
Um,
minimum.
kid's looking fantastic. You know, Head off to you, man. You're killing it. You're taking
Matt,
advantage of the thing, unlike the guy we talked about before. Oh,
Yeah, Matt, let me chime in here with one last thing before we move on. In 2021 in the minors, Jose Miranda hit 344, 30 bombs, 94 RBIs, 4 steals, 97 runs in 127 games. So that should just give you an idea of what the kid can do. You know,
it's a nice
he's got
profile.
got a lot of power in that bat, a little bit of speed. A good could potentially be a good batting average guy. I think he, as Matt said, you got to get that ownership up to 70-75% owned. So let's move on to a couple closers here. You know, closer market is up in flux right now, right?
Now
But
up in
one guy,
flames.
yeah.
They set a blowtorch to it, and they said, "Here, fireworks show." Ah.
Matt is on point there with that one. But I got a guy for you guys. I got a guy. He's only 56% owned, and I'm a huge fan of his. I was super mad he didn't get added back to the rotation, and that's Garrett Whitlock. Garrett Whitlock is a great pitcher. He has great stuff, and he has 2 out of the last 3 saves here for the Boston Red Sox, right? So I know they were trying Tanner Houck, they were trying a couple other different guys here, but I think Garrett Whitlock might be the answer for them. He's got a 3.07 ERA on the year, 104 WHIP, 58 innings, 60 Ks, 2 wins. He's just a really good pitcher. I totally think you should go out there and give him the shot right now if he's available in your leagues, just on the chance that he actually might take the job and run away with it. He's very talented. Once again, great stuff. And I feel like a broken record at this point. Just go out there and pick up Garrett Whitlock if you need a guy that might get you some saves.
Yeah, I mean, it's Boston. They're looking to sell everyone. So,
That's
the
true
saves
too.
opportunity may not be there depending on who they move after tomorrow. So let's wait and see. I
Yeah,
wouldn't run out and go at him right away without some more knowledge. So you don't want to burn up one of those ads for
fair
the
enough.
week.
Fair enough.
But if they make it through tomorrow without trading all their best players, then he's definitely worth an ad because they'll still be in games. But let's move on to this last guy here, and that's Hunter Strickland. He's another one. Doesn't really get. There's not too many saves to go around, but he's the one getting the saves right now. So you kind of roll with the one that's getting the opportunities. He did get lit up in his last one, but I mean, hey, it's Cincinnati. It is what it is. Right now, I think he may be the guy that's getting the saves. So, I would say Adam, because I mean, like I said, saves are going to be hard to come by, especially on the teams that just had all these guys that just got lit up and just got taken out of their positions. And I'm really angry about this. And I'm just going to stop now.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, guys. I mean, this one's more of a dart throw and a desperation play, honestly. Alexis Diaz should be the guy who we've talked about on this podcast a bunch of times. But unfortunately, they don't want to give him the role. So Hunter Strickland is the guy. This is a deep lead move, guys. I'm not really picking him up in anything other than like a 15 or, like an only type of a situation. He does have Hunter Strickland, is who we're talking about once again. He's got 6 saves on the year, but a 5.70 ERA and a 160 WHIP, under a K per 9. He's 4% owned on Yahoo, so he's 3.99 in every league right now. So if you're feeling frisky, feeling a little froggy, go ahead and leap and go Hunter Strickland. But I'll tell you this, Matt, one more thing on Whitlock. Even if the Red Sox do sell, right, they're going to be in close games when they are trying to, compete. So I'll tell you this, I would keep an eye to see if they keep giving Whitlock save chances. But I'll tell you this, if you lost, a Taylor Rogers or, anybody else, right now, and you're really looking like, oh, where am I going to do? What am I going to go for saves? Definitely a sneaky speculative ad in Garrett Whitlock. And he's the only guy right now that's, under 60% owned that, is, new to getting saves, other than I'll throw out another name too. I know we did talk about him last week, but, AJ Puck could potentially be the guy over in Oakland. Now, let's do a little AJ Puck rant again, just because Lou Trevino did go over to the Yankees in the Frankie Montas trade. And, AJ Puck, has gotten a couple of saves here over the past couple of weeks, but he, he's kind of been going back and forth, but I think he should take the role and run with it. AJ Puck's 15% owned on Yahoo, 43 innings, 45 Ks, 2 saves, 2 wins. 208 ERA, 097 WHIP. And Puck was somebody who was a big time prospect, has great stuffs, good fastball. I think he could be the guy in Oakland.
Yeah, I mean, so the thing about Puck is his phalanges have never been good, but luckily he's kind of been on the bend, and I'm really happy for him because I mean, shoot, I think honestly I was probably one of the highest people on him a couple of years ago when there was that possibility he was going to be a
Yeah,
starter.
definitely. I can
Uh,
confirm that.
Yeah, and truthfully, I really hope that he isn't like for this year. I hope he is the closer, but I hope next year he gets that transition to his rotation because I think he has a lot of value. And the kid just throws gas, like he is incredible. Um, But I could also see him being very, very successful in that closer role because again, he throws gas. He pretty much can just blow the ball past you, and you won't even know it's there.
I
I
think
think
that's
he,
the best way to keep him healthy.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, doesn't he teeter around 100? If I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah, he gets up there.
Yeah, he gets
You're
up there.
100% right. He gets
So
up there.
he has that Chapman profile. So I mean, where I could see him kind of being successful in the bullpen, but at the same time, man, man, I just love to get him one season as a starter and see what he could do. Because I think
Yeah,
he'd set the world on fire. I'm a
I'll
big
say
fan.
this. I agree with you. I agree with you 1,000%. He totally could. He definitely could. But the thing is, as you said, those phalanges are so weak with AJ Puck, and I don't know if he's capable. I don't know if his shoulder will hold up. I don't know if he's pitching 100 innings a season, even 150. That's going to be a lot. I think that he. Oh my God, Seattle is just all over the place tonight. I feel bad for Marco Gonzalez owners right now because he's getting spanked right now. But guys, that's going to be it for the MDs today. Once again, go out there and snag AJ Puck or Garrett Whitlock if you're looking for a closer. Other than that, guys, if you're still listening, our card giveaway ends by Wednesday. We will announce the winner. So you really just got the rest of today, which is going to be Tuesday when you hear this to enter. Other than that, guys, we will catch you on Wednesday with all the big trade news. And see you.
Peace.